Business owners, listen up. The Corporate Transparency Act is facing major legal challenges. And as of right now, you may not need to comply, but don't get too comfortable just yet because things are changing fast. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down what's happening, what it means for you, and what you should do right now to stay ahead of the curve. Let's dive in. On January 23rd, 2025, the U.S. Supreme Court issued an order that temporarily lifted a nationwide injunction that was blocking the enforcement of the Corporate Transparency Act, or the CTA. As you may know, that this law itself requires businesses, just like yours and mine, to file something called a Beneficial Ownership Information Report with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN. Despite the Supreme Court's actions, FinCEN issued an actual alert on their own, stating that companies still don't need to file just yet. Confused? Well, you're not alone. You see, right now, there are two major legal cases that are creating uncertainty. Don't get me wrong, there's actually more cases than that, but two that you need to be aware of. You see, the Supreme Court itself, in this most recent action, they were lifting an injunction that was issued by a federal district court in Texas back in December against FinCEN, which was preventing FinCEN from enforcing the BOI requirement, even though there was an impending deadline, and in fact, that deadline has now passed. But you see, there's actually this other judge in Texas that issued a separate nationwide injunction, which has not yet been considered by the Supreme Court, meaning the requirement is still paused. So in plain English, you're not required to file for now. But regulatory uncertainty means this could change at any moment. But let's take a step back. What is the CTA and why does it even exist? You see, the goal of the law is to combat financial crimes like money laundering and tax evasion by requiring businesses like yours and mine to file something, basically a report, on who their beneficial owners are. That's essentially anyone with significant control or ownership. And quite frankly, I personally believe that this is an egregious overreach by the government. And the law, the CTA, I believe to be facially unconstitutional. But here's the kicker. You see, failure to comply, if and when this law actually becomes enforceable, it can result in significant fines of up to $10,000 and even potential criminal charges, which would result in prison time. That's why staying ahead of this is absolutely critical. You see, you might be thinking to yourself, Edward, wait a minute, I run a small business. Why should I even care about this? Well, the CTA applies to most businesses and possibly even yours. You see, the reality is, unless you meet one of a few exemptions, compliance will be mandatory if and when enforcement finally kicks in. Here's what you need to understand. You see, the government is serious about this. They want to track down who owns what, and ignorance of the law won't be an excuse when the time comes. So what's the game plan? Here's what I want to recommend. I want you to do this right now to stay ahead of the curve. First and foremost, I want you to get your documentation ready. Start compiling the information that you would need so that when it's time, you can upload it easily. The most challenging thing is like this photo ID requirement, right? Part of the requirement in this report is to upload a photo identification of all of those beneficial owners, right? The individuals that have significant control, significant ownership. That would include members, if you will, of your LLC that own 25% or more. It could include your managers and anyone else that has significant control over that particular enterprise. The number two thing I want you to do is I want you to understand that you should consider consulting a professional. You don't have to go it alone, right? Get advice from an expert who actually understands the complexities of compliance. See, being proactive now can save you from having to scramble later when deadlines happen. And third, just stay informed. Subscribe to my channel, for instance, so that I can continue to help you stay on top of this and other topics that move the needle for business owners. Look, navigating regulatory compliance like the CTA, it can be overwhelming, but you don't have to do it alone. That's why I created this channel in the first place, where I break down complex topics of importance to business owners, breaking them down into simple, actionable steps. Whether it's compliance or tax reduction or even wealth protection, I've got you covered. Remember, if you want to stay informed and proactive, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss critical updates like this one. See you on the next one. Bye for now.